Hello and welcome to Week in Tech. My name is Karamjit and with me is my co-host Aisha. Aisha?
Good, thanks.
Aisha read my mind. I was going to say how you doing, but it's been a routine and she's developed a little bit of telepathy, right?
Yeah.
Okay, Aisha, you've got the cover story for the week, but we don't have the actual page.
Yeah, because we're actually taping it on a Wednesday. But anyway, I was actually sent to Penang on a trip by MIDA. And MIDA is the Malaysian Development Authority Industry.
Soon to be corporatized, right?
Yeah, just as announced by Najib recently that it's soon to be privatized.
Privatized, sorry, yeah.
Soon to be
privatized.
Privatized, yeah.
If anybody wants to take them on.
They definitely has to change its structure, that they would have to start generating its own revenue. I don't know where, cut from the investment, I'm not so sure how, but I mean, it'll be really interesting. But anyway, this trip happened before the announcement, and they wanted to show us the electrical and electronics industry, which is mainly headed in Penang. And I think that for this week's article, at least, one of my main focus is the fact that, I mean, while everything is going fine and, they've got, investments coming in, somewhat those that are interested, the fact that one thing that stood out was my visit to Altera, and Altera is a fabulous FPGA company. They do about 1.2 billion sales every year. And the design center that they have in Penang is actually the largest outside of US. They don't have any design centers in China or India, and it just so happened that historically they bought a FPGA line from Intel in Penang, and so they sort of grew from there. And he says that he doesn't know what's wrong with the graduates, but he feels that the education system here is not as good as the rest of the world, because he says that if you were to hire, because 70% of their new hires are fresh grads. Comparing Malaysian fresh grads to North American fresh grads, he says that within 9 months' time, American graduates would start being productive already. They can start participating in projects and stuff, whereas he says that for the Malaysian graduates, sometimes it takes them 2 years.
2 years, yeah. I was surprised by the numbers he gave, but it was good of him to share their honest experience.
Yeah, exactly. And when it comes to filing patents, because they are a design company, typically American fresh graduates starts filing patents or start going in that direction after 4 years, whereas for Malaysian graduates it takes them 8 years.
Malaysian engineers, right?
So I don't know whether it's twice slower or twice as I mean it's pretty interesting. And he says that it's really an issue that they bring up to the chief minister and the government every time that they talk, and they're not the only one that's facing this.
But it's interesting that he felt it could have to do with the fact that we don't have any universities in, the world's top 200.
Well, he said it's a complex problem. He's not quite sure, and he did mention the fact that, mathematics and English is not, mathematics and science is taught in Bahasa Melayu now. So he says he thinks it's a long-term loss for Malaysia.
Sure, I mean, when I was at the Buka Puasa, I was at a Hari Raya open house for the senior executive of an MNC, and I met this other guy there, and I think I brought it up in one of our earlier shows too, that this guy had been running some SSO centers out of Cyberjaya. It's a consultant now. And I asked him about what his opinion was, and he said it was disastrous. The move, to teach math and science back into English is going to be disastrous. But this
you
is
mean
just,
back to Bahasa Malaysia?
Yeah, teaching back. But it's interesting that at least this Altera guy went on the record, of saying that he thought our education system wasn't good enough. But then, frankly, when you speak to people from anywhere around the world, they all think their national education system is not good enough. So I've come to realize that it's a common ailment, of any public education system.
I don't think so, because the guy, Jordan, at least, he said that in the early years they actually had to advise unis to put in VLSI in the syllabus. I know VLSI because I did VLSI when I was in university in Australia, and I was surprised that it's not taught here in the Malaysian universities, which
not
is
all,
actually
I'm sure it's taught
I think it's a core. I'm not so sure, but it's and he said that it was after they actually asked them again and again, or work with the ministries and stuff to put it in the syllabus. And now they actually have a steady supply of fresh grads from UTM.
Okay.
And I
Not
can't
UTM,
remember.
right?
No,
Technical
UTM,
Melaka.
the one in
Yeah,
Johor, and
Johor.
USM. So these are the public universities of Malaysia, and I don't know. To me, it sounds bizarre because
Yeah.
it's VLSI is actually something
part
quite
and
basic.
parcel, yeah, of
And I
course,
did
yeah.
that because. Yeah, well, I don't, I like, so in that sense, I don't really agree. I do think that we are sorely lacking in a lot of areas.